Again, Rav Shabbos, this week's Parsha is Parshas Shemini. Parshas Shemini, we have the terrible story of Nadav and Avihu, who brought an Eish Zara to Hashem, and they were killed for doing this act. And the pasuk tells us that Moshe told Aaron, who had just lost his two sons, "Hu asher diber Hashem lemar." Moshe was trying to console Aaron. He says, "This is what Hashem said: B'kroi vayakadesh, with the people who are near me, I'm going to be made sanctified. V'alpanei kol ha'am echaved, and in the presence of the whole people, I'll be glorified." And vayidem Aaron, the famous pasuk that Aaron was then silent. The problem is that we don't find anywhere that Hashem said this. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Aaron that this is what Hashem said: B'kroi vayakadesh, but he doesn't really say that anywhere. It doesn't say it at all in the whole Torah. So what is going on here? So Mefarshim talk about it, but I'd like to go with the words of the Ramban. The Ramban says that what this means is that Hashem's words, when Moshe says that Hashem said these things, Hashem's words are not words that we can hear literally. What it means is we have to be able, Hashem's words are seen through his actions, through his thoughts, through his ways. That's how Hashem talks to us, through things that happen to us. That is how Hashem is talking to us. So when a terrible thing happens, it's Hashem telling us something. Now, what is Hashem telling you? I don't know. And nobody knows, but everyone has to figure it out for themselves. But the most important thing is to realize that Hashem is talking to them, and he's saying something. Maybe he's telling you that you can grow from this. Now, how can you grow? That's up to you to figure out. But Aaron over here, he had to realize that Hashem was talking to him. That's what Moshe was saying. Hu asher diber Hashem b'kroi vayakadesh. Hashem didn't say it, but through the actions that happened here, through the story that happened, Moshe was telling Aaron, Hashem is talking to you. And Moshe was saying, this is what Hashem is telling you. And then it says, Vayidom Aaron, and Aaron was silent. I believe if we take the words of the Ramban even further, the next Ramban says, Vayidom Aaron. Many Mefarshim say that it means that Aaron didn't cry over his children, and they grapple with that and they explain it. But the Ramban says that Aaron did cry. The Ramban says, Shayaboicha b'koil. He was crying loudly. V'az shasak, but then he stopped crying. After Moshe Rabbeinu told him this, he stopped crying. I believe what the Ramban is saying is that Aaron took what Moshe said to heart. Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Aaron, listen, this is a terrible tragedy that happened to you. But you have to think, what is Hashem telling me in this tragedy? It doesn't mean that he's telling you that you're a bad person because you did it. No, b'kroi vayakadesh, I'm going to become more kadosh through this. How? Why Hashem did it? I don't know. But the bottom line is, how can you make Hashem more sanctified? How can I make more Hashem more kavod? How can I bring more kavod shemayim? How can I bring more kavod shemayim? I think that's a lesson to all of us. When we get a patch from Hashem, when something happens to us, even a positive thing happens to us, but it's just easier to see it when a negative thing happens, or rather it's harder to see it at the time. But when anything happens to us, that's Hashem speaking to us. In this life, when things happen to us, that's Hashem speaking to us. And it's our job to figure out, how can I bring more Kvod Shemayim from how this happened, and how can I bring more Kedusha to the Rabbeinu Shalom from what happened. That's what happened here. Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was quiet, he contemplated, he cried, and then he stopped crying. And I believe it's because he internalized what Moshe Rabbeinu was telling him, that Hashem is telling you, he's speaking to you through his actions. And it's up to us to try to figure out how to be mechabed Hashem more, and how to bring more Kiddush Shemayim. And I think that's a job that we all have to do. Have a wonderful Shabbos.